In another example of corporations just straight up bloody laughing at you, a new report's come out that says Rockstar North hasn't paid any corporation tax in 10 years, yet has received £42 million in tax relief. This story comes after the news that Activision, which has been using offshore tax havens for years, pays nothing on the billions and billions of dollars it rakes in a year, while also getting a tax refund. A refund on the $0 it actually paid. TaxWatch UK published a report which estimates Rockstar's profit has soared to $5 billion between 2013 and 2019, or £4 billion. A release period that would include Grand Theft Auto 5, which thanks to GTA Online, is the most profitable game ever. And while Rockstar and Take-Two Interactive have enjoyed this record-breaking profit, regular taxpayers are seeing their money go to major corporations for no good reason. In 2014, the UK government set up the Video Games Tax Relief Scheme, which sounds like a good idea when you imagine it going towards smaller developers, helping them out and encouraging the video game industry in the country to flourish. But strangely enough, it always seems like tax relief schemes predominantly benefit major corporations who have found workarounds to pay absolutely nothing into the systems themselves, while making millions and millions off of that system. It does almost seem as if the system we have in place right now is designed so that money flows towards more money, doesn't it? It does almost seem as if the system is designed to look out for the mega rich who are subsidized by the non-mega rich, doesn't it? Incidentally, the $42 million in tax relief that Rockstar got makes up 19% of the government's overall tax credit toward the game industry. Unsurprisingly, Rockstar North has not responded to this story, just like Rockstar did not respond to allegations of severe misconduct within its organization. But I suppose when you're sitting on top of the most profitable video game of all time, when you and your parent company are making billions of dollars, while paying nothing on taxes and getting £42 million back in return, you likely feel pretty chuffing invincible. But I want people to remember this. Remember this the next time someone tries to tell you that microtransactions and loot boxes and all that additional monetization is necessary because video games are just too expensive to make. Think about how many millions and billions of dollars these games rake in for the companies. Think about how they pay no friggin' taxes on any of that money flowing into them. Meanwhile, you are subsidizing them. You are paying for their games whether you actually buy their products or not. Think about the massive pay disparity between the workers who actually craft these products and the billionaires who sit on top of the companies. Billionaires who have more money than they or their families will ever need ever and still somehow want even more of it. Think about the mass layoffs these companies have regularly as part of their business model, while someone tells you microtransactions are necessary because it keeps people in jobs. Meanwhile, these executives always manage to find another couple mil round the back of the sofa to give themselves executive and performance bonuses. This is all worth remembering when someone tries to pass on the delusion, the utter outright delusion, that aggressive, predatory, psychologically manipulative monetization is necessary. No, all the season passes, all the DLC, all the deluxe editions, all the microtransactions, all the loot boxes, none of it's a necessity. It never was. And everything we've been talking about, especially this year, only further hammers the point home with a Harley Quinn-sized mallet. It amazes me that many people, still go to bat for these companies, defend their shitty business practices, while the companies themselves are yucking it up. I mean, Rockstar North gets this tax subsidy as part of a government scheme to benefit British developers, while they make video games that directly benefit a US company in Take-Two Interactive. I wouldn't be surprised to hear that Take-Two CEO Strauss Zelnick laughs himself to sleep off the back of that knowledge. It really is an absolute joke, but one that only billionaires could find genuinely funny. There is no doubt that Rockstar has been abusing the tax relief scheme in in the UK. On paper, this is not what the fucking scheme is there for. It is not there so a multi-billion-dollar company can avoid paying anything back into the UK while wholly benefiting a greedy as fuck US publisher. On paper, when this was set up, this scheme was designed to benefit smaller studios, companies that actually might need tax relief. I mean, Jesus Christ, any fucker who is making billions and billions while paying no taxes does not need relief. But then pleading poverty and claiming necessity is pretty much par for the course when it comes to the mainstream game industry. It's not just Rockstar. As noted, Activision are a bunch of fucking parasites as well, and this extends beyond the game industry as well. Many corporations across the world are running these kinds of cons. I mean, we're in a situation where people working at the bottom rungs of these companies are paying more taxes than the companies employing them. And in the most extreme cases, if such a worker were to only pay $1 a year in tax, they'd still be paying more than some of these bastards. They are a bunch of parasites. Gigantic, massive parasites. As for Rockstar, on yesterday's Gymquisition, I pointed out how Rockstar has become the very things Grand Theft Auto famously parodies. Greedy business people, exploitative consumer culture, unchecked capitalism, heartless, soulless, greedy corporations. Grand Theft Auto has never been subtle about mocking and tearing these things down. Rockstar's either sold all that out, completely just straight up sold out, or it never truly held the beliefs behind the satire to begin with, in which case it's always just been an insincere piece of shit. And unlike with some companies, we can't separate the creative team from the business team, because the houses are in charge of all of it. So either way, Rockstar's satire, which has been praised in the past for taking down capitalism, is completely toothless, boneless, pointless. Rockstar is everything Grand Theft Auto supposedly criticizes and comments on. It's almost sad to look back on various editorials and articles about what Grand Theft Auto has to say, juxtaposed against the grindy, manipulative, seemingly endless monetization in their games now, juxtaposed against reports detailing the toxic, abusive work environments within the company, juxtaposed against them working around having to pay any taxes whatsoever, while meekly and pathetically serving the whims of Take-Two Interactive. They should be ashamed of themselves, but they're not. None of these companies are. They don't know what shame is anymore if they did at all. But again, I will just say, remember this. Remember this story. Remember the story of Activision. Remember the tax refunds they get, the tax relief they get. Remember that the executives at the top are dealing in millions and billions of personal money. They make money in sums so vast, they're borderline abstract to regular people. And yet some of those regular people will defend what these corporations do, and will still labor under that delusional belief that the things they put in their games, the bullshit, cynical ways in which they try and make more money from people who have already spent money, are necessary, important, beneficial to all of us. That's a crock of shit, and the mainstream game industry these days is indistinguishable from a racket.